thank you so much for joining our fall webinar titled Leave It to Laserfiche. Today we're talking about Laserfiche and our ArcGIS integration and all the cool benefits that you can leverage by using our integration. So hello again, my name is Andrew Alvarez. I'm the account executive and I'm going to be your host today. I'm joined by two members of our new department that we're very excited to introduce today. It's our Data Solutions Department. With me today, I have Morgan Wheeler. He is the director of our Data Solutions Department, and he'll talk to you all a bit later in the presentation about the exciting work that this new department is doing. Also with us today is Megan Voss. She is our GIS applications specialist. She works again for our Data Solutions Department as well, and she'll talk about some really exciting ArcGIS AI features today. So before we get started, a couple housekeeping items as usual. Everybody is on mute, but please put your questions into the question box. I have a session or time dedicated towards the end of the presentation to answer any questions. We'll also monitor it throughout the presentation. No need to take notes feverishly. We're going to be providing slides and screenshots upon request. And as always, the session is being recorded. And this will be posted to our YouTube channel library as all of our past webinars are. So feel free to also share that YouTube video link with any other attendees that couldn't attend today for any reason, or anybody else in your organization that may be interested in Laserfiche and ArcGIS. So on today's agenda, we're gonna start the webinar, kick it off with a discussion of what the possibilities are of integrating ArcGIS and Laserfiche. What are the possibilities? What is the value? We're gonna get into talking about what is ArcGIS? What is the ArcGIS and Laserfiche integration? Then we're going to cover topics like what should you consider sharing with the public via ArcGIS? What are other customers using this integration for? What about security settings in Laserfiche? We'll cover required licensing. I'll also then get into our demonstration. So I am going to be showing 3 live examples of our Laserfiche and ArcGIS in action, and then we'll also have Megan show us those exciting AI features. And we'll pause for any questions, and we'll wrap up talking about our CDI and Laserfiche resources. All right, so I'll turn it over to Morgan to kick off our discussion here with what is ArcGIS.
Thank you, Andrew, and good morning to you all. I know your time is one of the most valuable things that you can give, and you've chosen to be with us this morning, so I thank you for that. Like Andrew said, my name is Morgan Wheeler. I am the Director of Data Solutions here at CDI, and I have sit for many years on the City of Long Beach, California's Technology and Innovation Commission. And I am joined by the illustrious Megan Voss, one of our GIS specialists and GIS AI specialists. Just a quick little note for those of you who may not already know. ArcGIS is the leading mapping and geographic information systems GIS solution globally. It is the ultimate power grid for your geographic intelligence and fuses your data onto visually pleasing maps. It doesn't just make maps, however, it has evolved into building immersive 2D and 3D digital twins. We'll talk about what that digital twin idea is shortly. And reveals hidden patterns that you could just never see in a spreadsheet of geospatial data. With advanced spatial analytics and AI built into the application now and supported by us here at CDI, it transforms location into a predictive engine, empowering you to optimize your logistics, manage risk, and forecast the future. Many of our clients here at CDI use Esri's ArcGIS product, but not only, there are other players in the market, including cities, counties, special districts, healthcare organizations, banks, insurers, manufacturers, marketers, or any mix thereof, and you name it. CDI, as a leading GIS consultant, integrator and Laserfiche distributor, has developed the integration between Esri's ArcGIS product and the Laserfiche document management or enterprise content management system. CDI's ArcGIS integration with Laserfiche offers you the best of both worlds: document data in your maps and map data in your documents, providing time-saving interaction between the ArcGIS application map layers and Laserfiche documents and the data therein. The integration allows users to view, search, and upload documents directly into Laserfiche through the ArcGIS interface, providing where maps then automatically populate to indicate which features on the map have associated document data. Map data is also visible back on the documents in Laserfiche in an automated fashion, and the integration can be set up with a single or multi-map layer configuration to allow for multiple department use, map loading efficiency. We know dense map layers can put a lot of stress on the ArcGIS system, and also enabling the map layers for use in public portals. Let's see a little bit what that looks like on the next slide. So as to how our clients are using ArcGIS, Laserfiche, and integrations, not just limited to ArcGIS and Laserfiche itself, but integration is the economies of scale for our software application. And here in the city of Long Beach, we have begun extracting information from documents within our Laserfiche repository and through integrations with other applications, through APIs or direct integrations, to create real-time inventories of different address, point, plot, line, polygraph, and other coordinate data. That doesn't demand major changes to how our field and permit staff currently process those documents. We're using this information right now to create what is called a digital twin in ArcGIS, backed and informed by the documents and their data in other systems, namely Laserfiche. And what this does is it creates a real-time comprehensive look at how our city can plan for numerous events. The big one right now, being less than 3 years out, is how a city of 460,000 people, so I'll say that number again, a city of less than 500,000 people, will effectively host 12 Olympic events and upwards of 1 million visitors, perhaps on any single day. So a city of less than 500,000 people having to facilitate guests of upwards and including 1 million in number. That volume has been compared to hosting 10 Super Bowls at once. It is an ominous task for us here in Long Beach, and our integration backbone between our document data and our mapping layers is our key to planning for hosting those games successfully. Here in Long Beach, we're pulling from LA Metro, LA Sheriff, federal agencies, local PD, health agencies, traffic cams, and more to create a reliable planning model for our Olympic Games, the digital twin. One key example, for instance, is to extract our known transient rental permit data, aka Airbnbs, from Laserfiche. You have to file a permit for that here in Long Beach. And we couple that with the Airbnb API data to create real-time inventory of the rooms we have available to rent. Obviously, the hotels just give us that information directly. And what that does in the digital twin is it answers 2 key questions. Where will guests be able to stay when they come see the games in Long Beach? But also, who has transient rental listings without the proper permit? We'll take a look at how some of that works here in the next slide. So here in Long Beach, at least, and numerous other cities that Cities Digital supports here in the Southern California region and beyond, we extract that information in a number of ways from our documents and our systems to inform our GIS digital twin. CDI's integration with Laserfiche is a very powerful tool in that equation to marry document staged point and plot data with real-time maps. The use of a geodatabase, often developed by our CDI GIS team, helps keep that data up to date and accessible. It's kind of a man-in-the-middle approach. And more importantly, using the document management system as a data lake of sorts allows our city to continue processing documents into the EDMS or ECM system as they do right now, right from the front counters in our city hall. They scan the permit applications into Laserfiche, but then we use the point data buried in those documents to inform a holistic analysis for event planning. Not just event planning, right? Crime abatement, neighborhood cleanup. We use it to keep a real-time inventory of our ADA compliant corners, so cutting the ramp into the intersection corners and the curb, street repairs, trash cleanup, homeless management, etc. And there are various techniques used to do this, spanning from smart fields and pattern matching in Laserfiche, extraction via API out of the Laserfiche repository and other applications, and likely feeding that information into a geodatabase. I mentioned that on the last slide. It's just a fancy word for a table with spatial data. And cleaning that data is critical so as to inform a usable map, and even going so far as to then feed that data into the GeoAI machine learning algorithms built right into Esri. But we are also avid users of ChatGPT, Copilot, and our own tailored large language model, LLMs, and other spatial algorithms here in the city. We just published our AI policy and are actively using AI tools to auto recognize numerous different components of recently scanned maps or maps that have always been digital, backed by the data points in the documents in Laserfiche. The point being is that we can use document-based location data in novel ways. Just perhaps with a little integration and maybe a sprinkle of AI, this breathes new life back into these voluminous document management systems that many of our organizations have been building for years. Maybe with the idea that if those documents were not properly scanned, that information is not usable. Not the case. Laserfiche and CDI integration and numerous different strategies can extract that point data to fill out your maps. So let's take a look now at two demonstrations. First will be Andrew showing the union of document data in Laserfiche and the mapping layers in ArcGIS, and then Megan with a little bit of AI in those maps.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Morgan. All right, it's one thing to talk about all of this, but it's another thing to see it in action. So let's look at a few examples here. I'm going to start out with the basics. I'm going to start out with some simple viewing of ArcGIS mapping data and calling up documents in Laserfiche that reside for that specific parcel that we're looking up in ArcGIS. So as you can see on screen here, here is our little fictional city of CDI, which is actually the lovely city of Ellensburg up in Washington, part of Kittitas County. So what I'm using here is the Kittitas County parcels layer to show you what their mapping capabilities are for that county, and allowing me then to run a search for a specific parcel location on that map and call up any pertaining documents in Laserfiche. So let's go ahead and look at that now. I'll navigate over to my search filter box here, and we'll search for Happy's Market, right? This is on University Way in Washington. We'll let the map zoom in here. There it goes. Let's go ahead and click on that parcel. So what we can do here is we can obviously view the geospatial information that's stored in ArcGIS, such as the location, coordinates, and other information. But more importantly, what we're interested in is all of the documents that reside in our Laserfiche repository. Also, to set the stage, in this scenario, I'm assuming I'm an internal employee. So I'm going to be able to view this in the Laserfiche web client, where I have more rights in terms of then being able to modify those documents further in the Laserfiche repository. In the next demonstration, I'm going to show you a public-facing view, where it's essentially opening up in the Laserfiche WebLink public portal with a read-only capacity, right? So again, here I'm an internal user, and I'm looking up parcels specifically called up Happy's Market, and then I can go ahead and see any of those documents that are in Laserfiche. So when I click a link to that document, this opens up in our Laserfiche web client. The benefit here is obvious. You don't have to then run a separate search in Laserfiche. You're able to directly click that document link, get into your Laserfiche repository, and view that supporting document that you were calling up from ArcGIS, right? In the right side here, you'll notice that our template information can be populated with the ArcGIS data. My following demo will also show leveraging Laserfiche workflow and forms where data from ArcGIS is passed into Laserfiche dynamically. So by using Laserfiche workflow, we're able to import data from ArcGIS, such as the parcel ID number and other location information, and have that be stored dynamically in our Laserfiche metadata, right? So this is a simple view. You can search for any parcel on the map, call up those documents from within ArcGIS. Another thing that you can do that's pretty cool, you can add additional documentation from ArcGIS directly into Laserfiche. So if I navigate here to the bottom, I can open our Smart Editor. And this is going to allow me to import documents into the Laserfiche repository directly from ArcGIS. This is also pre-populated with data, obviously, that's available in ArcGIS that can also then be passed along with that document into our Laserfiche repository. So if I navigate here to the bottom, we can go ahead and choose a file and have it be saved into the Laserfiche repository. So I'll select this drawing file here. And it's simple as that. This will take just a second. It'll then pop up in the list here. To be safe, I'll just give this another second, let that workflow work. And let's go ahead and open up that document that we just imported into the Laserfiche repository. Right, so it's linked from the map. And this is the engineering drawing that I saved into the Laserfiche repository directly from ArcGIS. And as you can see, the template information gets dynamically populated. Also, information from ArcGIS can then be dynamically imported into our Laserfiche template. Since again, I'm an internal employee, I have full user rights in Laserfiche. I can then go ahead and add any additional metadata. This can also kick off additional internal processes to further process documents, maybe building permits and things like that. So I'll actually be showing a building permit form here in a minute. So that'll be a good example to dive into, right? But here, that's the whole idea here, showing you that view capacity between ArcGIS and Laserfiche. Again, the benefit here, not having to switch systems, run separate searches in Laserfiche. It's all tightly integrated. Metadata can be passed between the two systems, and documents can be called up from ArcGIS from within Laserfiche. So that was our internal view example. Let's go ahead and switch over to a live customer example here. So this is the city of Edmonds in Washington. They're obviously one of our valued Laserfiche clients, and they're leveraging our ArcGIS integration. So as you can see, I'm on their live website here. And if I navigate under the services tab here, they have a public-facing GIS map available. Let's give this a second to load up. Now they have a number of layers that they're displaying in ArcGIS, but I know for a fact the layer that's linked to Laserfiche is the parcels layer or the property layer. So I'll make sure that is selected here. We have that selected, and as you can see, you have the ability to then zoom in on a specific parcel. Again, in this scenario, I am that public user. Maybe I'm that nosy person that wants to see all of those building permits for specific properties, right? So I'm able to zoom in and just click on a parcel and call up those Laserfiche documents. Let's give this another second to zoom in. And let's pick this parcel here. This one looks good. So as you select the parcel, you then have a link again into Laserfiche, right? So you can go ahead and see a list of all the documents that are relevant to this parcel. And you're able to simply just click that link. And this opens up in Laserfiche web link. So this is the read-only portal for Laserfiche. This doesn't enable the users to make any changes to any of your documents, right? So it's tightly secured. This is simply a view-only portal for public access. The only ability here is to allow the public users to be able to print this as a PDF or save a local copy on their device. But again, this is a web link public portal. They can go ahead and view whatever document that they were looking up on that parcels layer. This looks like this is probably some kind of a building permit. But yeah, you can go ahead and click through the thumbnails, view the document. You have the ability to view any metadata that the city wants to go ahead and make public, right? You can turn off the view for metadata. Annotations, you can also turn on and off the annotations. If there were any annotations on the document, you can turn those on and off. But yeah, this is all you can do here. You can print and save this. For exports, we can go ahead and make it. If somebody does export something, print it, save a local copy, we can watermark it, right? So that's a security kind of a watermark if that's needed as well. So that can be made available. So that's essentially how it works for a public users. You know, this is a big benefit for cities, really any government agency that wants to make their public documents available, but give that extra map front end on it to just make it that more intuitive, right? Where I can just click points on that map, click on a parcel, call up any documents that reside in Laserfiche. Obviously, this is a public facing map, so I don't have the ability to add any additional documents into that repository because that's a forbidden function for a public user for obvious reasons. So that's the public view. Next thing, kind of wanted to take it to the next level here with the integration. So let's close out some of these windows and let's go ahead and leverage Laserfiche forms. I'm going to make sure I refresh this here so my ArcGIS map loads in here. So what's happening here? This is a public facing form. It's a building permit application. But the really interesting part here is we're leveraging the ArcGIS feature, the mapping capability within the Laserfiche form. So this is super cool. What I can do here is I can copy in an address because I know this one has documents that we need. What it's going to do in the map, it's going to look up that specific address, right? And then we can go ahead and use that data in ArcGIS to pre-fill our form. So you'll notice I have nothing under the applicant information or the property information, but check this out. This is really cool, right? We can use that data from ArcGIS and there we go. Now we populated the mailing address for our property and then also the parcel ID got dynamically imported from ArcGIS. So this is really neat. I'll go ahead and change this name to myself. So this is a building permit application. This is obviously just an example of what one could potentially look like. If you're a city here on the call, this is not the way your building permits have to look or flow, your forms. You can design these, customize them based on your specific process. And let's scroll down here. We can go ahead and fill in any additional permit information, like what is this for? What kind of work are we doing? What's the amount of work? The neat part here is we can add attachments. So maybe we already have those engineering drawings ready to be reviewed. We can go ahead and add that here. It does give you a nice little preview of what you're attaching to that form, which can be useful. Then also we can add in any additional project details as needed. This form can be as simple as complex as you want to make it. Again, this is just one example of what it could potentially look like. Now, the really neat part too is with Laserfiche forms, you can incorporate a payment gateway. I don't have one set up here, but you could incorporate a payment gateway where you can actually take payments as well as part of this form process, which really simplifies things quite a bit. You can also obviously sign this form, number of ways of signing, right? If the user is on a touch device, maybe they're on their iPad, iPhone, or whatever, you can use a stylus or their finger to sign, or they can just type in their signature and have that translate over into a signature type font. There's a number of fonts you can change this to go ahead and sign this form, right? So we'll click sign here and submit this. Now, what this form is going to do, it's going to leverage the Laserfiche workflow engine, and it's going to send this submitted form to the person that's reviewing and approving these forms at the city, right? So that city employee is going to get an email notification. When they click the link from the email notification, it's going to take them to this page, which is essentially their forms inbox. Another cool thing too is if you're using the Laserfiche mobile app, you can use the Laserfiche mobile app to review these forms and approve them as needed. So if you're mobile out in the field, sitting on the beach, whatever, you can still be part of these business processes to review them and approve them, right? Another big benefit of using Laserfiche forms is you have action history, so you have metrics, right? You can see when forms have been submitted, by who and when, and you can see exactly where this form is in the process. So there's never any questions like, hey, you know, Andrew, did you approve that form yet? Well, no, you can clearly see that I have not approved it yet if you just log into Laserfiche forms and check the action history. So you have those metrics built into Laserfiche. Now, this is just a one-step approval process here. I can simply approve or reject it. If you had additional review steps in this process, right, this could get then routed to that additional person for additional review and approval. But I have just this one step. We're going to approve it. And then we're just going to assign our permit number. Let's make up a fun one, right? 8675309. That's our permit number here. And let's go ahead and approve this. So this will get processed by the workflow. And a couple of things are happening behind the scenes in Laserfiche. This building permit is getting filed into Laserfiche along with the attached documentation that I attached to it. And it's also being linked live into the ArcGIS map interface. So we can then go back to Happy's Market and look up this actual live building permit that was approved and loaded up into Laserfiche. Also in Laserfiche, this is getting archived in the correct folder, right? I don't have to go to Laserfiche and manually save it in the correct folder. The workflow is doing this for us automatically, dynamically, inputting this document into the Laserfiche repository, automatically applying the metadata properties. It can dynamically look up things in ArcGIS, like that parcel ID number and additional geospatial information from ArcGIS. Put it into our Laserfiche folder. Since this is also a record, it can also apply our record retention properties. So for example, our retention schedule can get applied. I'll show that here in a minute. I was just trying to talk to let that form process. But what's shown on screen here is the Laserfiche forms inbox, right? So these are my forms that I have open. As you can see, I'm currently doing a good job. I don't have any open tasks, but if I wanted to see all of my completed tasks, here there are, right? So in Laserfiche forms, if you haven't seen forms before, you have this nice inbox of all of your open tasks and completed tasks as well. So I wanted to just point that out really quickly. Now, if we go over into the Laserfiche repository, let's go ahead and look up that new building permit that we just imported into the system. So this is going to be located under our property files. 207 West University Way, Ellensburg was the address. We'll go over to our permits folder. Then I have the workflow automatically put them by year. So I have a year subfolder here. And then here I have all of my permits, right? So the one that we just did, I'm sorting this by last modified, and there it is. There's that 867530 mountain permit, right? You'll notice this also has a little bit of an image of a records cabinet right here. This is how you know that this document is also part of a record, right? So if I select this folder, I can go ahead and view the records properties. So really cool. It automatically also assigns, as you can see, our retention schedule. So hypothetically here, our retention schedule is, hey, keep this for 10 years and then destroy it. So the workflow can then monitor this and at 10 years, send you a notification letting you know, hey, all of these building permits are ready for destruction. So this is what it looks like in Laserfiche. It did add those documents in there. So that's stored in Laserfiche. I did also want to point out here, if I select that correctly, we'll see also the field information is dynamically populated. So the building permits template is assigned, the applicant name, the ArcGIS information for that specific parcel has also been imported into our Laserfiche repository, like the parcel ID, the address, and then there's that permit number that I assigned. So that's the view in Laserfiche, but let's go back to the map. And I closed my map here. I do apologize. Let me go back to that here really quickly. Let's refresh this. And I'll just run a quick search for Happy's Market again. There we go. Actually, let's click on this. Yep, there we go. Scroll down, all the way down, because all of our latest documents are going to be put towards the bottom. That's the way we have it set up here. And you can see that permit application number 8675309, right? There you go. You can click it from ArcGIS. And this opens up in Laserfiche for us, right? So this is that building permit application. Then you can view your metadata here. You can view those records properties, and everybody is happy. So I hope this was useful to see in action. This is just one example of how you can kind of take the ArcGIS and Laserfiche integration to the next level. Not only have that view and data being shared between the two applications, but also using it in business processes, right? So I'm sure you can think of other examples where this may be useful. So thank you for paying attention to see the integration. I did want to also cover security in Laserfiche specifically for displaying public documents. So how do we do that in Laserfiche, right? We don't want to make everything publicly accessible through WebLink, through our ArcGIS map. So if you have not worked with Laserfiche or played around with it and not familiar with it, Laserfiche has very granular security and access, right? So for example, if I just go to my permits folder, maybe I want to lock down this permits folder, right? So I can go ahead and right click this folder here. I'll click on show security. Now this is going to give me a list of all of my trustees that have access to this folder. So trustees are groups of users or individual users in Laserfiche, like specific employees, right? So you can see what the scope is for each individual group of users. What can they access within that folder, subfolder, and go all the way down to the document level. So maybe you want to allow them to view the 2025 folder, but there may be a subfolder in the 2025 folder that you may not want to allow access to. So you can go ahead and limit that. So in order to add a public user, essentially public user profile, what's generally done is creating a public portal user profile. Then anybody that's using Laserfiche WebLink from outside, when it's logging in, it's logging in as the public portal user, right? So when you add this public portal user, you can go ahead and select what rights they have and what they can access, right? So currently everything is allowed, which is no, we definitely don't want this. So we can go ahead and deny everything, but maybe we want to go under view and we want to allow them to be able to read. So we go ahead and set the access right for reading to be enabled. Maybe we want to allow them to browse as well. So we can go ahead and do that, right? So this will allow them to be able to browse the Laserfiche repository through WebLink, and also to run a search and view documents. Anything else is forbidden, right? They cannot add any documents. So that's how it's done in Laserfiche. You can set these different security controls on really any folder in Laserfiche, any subfolder in Laserfiche, as well as all the way down to the document level. Everything can have varied security rights as needed by your organization. So that's how we control security in Laserfiche. The other thing when it comes to searching, so for running Laserfiche searches through the public portal, if that public portal user profile doesn't have access to specific folders and documents, when that public user runs a search, they're not going to be able to locate those documents. They don't even show up in the search results. So it's definitely very secure in Laserfiche in terms of who can access what through your WebLink public portal. So that finishes off my presentation here. Let's go ahead and switch to the PowerPoint here. Hope everybody's still with me. And let's talk about what licensing is needed. Linda or Morgan, are you able to see my screen again? My PowerPoint?
Nope, just the title of the webinar. There we go.
Were you able to see what I was showing previously?
We were, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
If we're on my second slide now.
All right, perfect. Alrighty, so let's talk about the licensing that is required to make this all work. So you do need the Laserfiche and ArcGIS integration that's available from CDI, and it's an add-on, right? So you need to add it for your Laserfiche self-hosted platform. So that's all your Avante, Rio, and subscription systems. But good news, it's also now available on Laserfiche Cloud. So all of you on Laserfiche Cloud, you can also now leverage our integration with that platform. Laserfiche workflow, this is optional, but I would say almost required, because what the workflow does, it allows the metadata, or really any data, to be shared in between ArcGIS and Laserfiche, allowing you to, when you make a change on an entry in Laserfiche, we can go ahead and update that data in ArcGIS and vice versa. So for that, you do need Laserfiche workflow, which I would say, again, is pretty much essential. Workflow is available as an add-on to your legacy platforms. It is included with Avante and Rio systems. For subscription and cloud customers, it is included on the professional and business tiers. One last component is Laserfiche Forms Professional. This is optional, but it would be required for what I was showing today, where the Laserfiche form is doing a dynamic lookup into ArcGIS. You would need Forms Professional. And that's an add-on to your legacy platforms, Avante and Rio systems. For subscription and cloud customers, it is again included on both the professional and business tiers. All right, I'll turn it over to Morgan to kick off our AI discussion.
Thank you, Andrew. Well, so the big buzzword for all of us, no matter what industry you're in, is AI these days. And whether it brings fear or excitement or both to the table, CDI can guide you through a lot of that work, through this fast-paced world of AI, by developing machine learning algorithms inside or outside of your GIS application and Laserfiche to extract geospatial data, detect, classify and cluster, and trend and predict what's coming down the pipeline. My colleague Megan will show you a bit of this Geo AI here shortly. Just to define the word, Geo AI stands for Geospatial Artificial Intelligence. It's AI fused with geospatial data, science, and technologies. And it accelerates our real-world understanding of business opportunities, environmental impacts, risks, and brings it to the most visually pleasing and convenient application we have for planning these types of spatial data, ArcGIS. CDI can help you save time by automating the extraction and classification and detection of that information from data such as imagery, video, point clouds, text, you name it. I have a few examples from some of our clients here on the right, automatically identifying different types of vehicles, automatically identifying parking lots, and then embedding those maps into other presentation software like Power BI. The government, the G365 license has made the entire Power Platform very available to government end users, whereas the Esri ArcGIS license pool may be limited. Those maps can be embedded into Power BI. Within either Power BI or Esri ArcGIS, you can perform predictive analysis using very specific machine learning algorithms, or more generalized. Reach out to ChatGPT, use Copilot, Google Gemini. They all have APIs that can be passed cleansed data to, so as to not share any inappropriate data or NPPI, non-public personal information. It allows you to detect clusters, calculate changes, find patterns, forecast outcomes, or just really, I think what the bottom line need and deliverable for AI is we're all asking to do more with less, and AI empowers us to do so. And we also can improve data quality and consistency and accuracy, allowing for better prediction. AI is your classic garbage in, garbage out situation. So if we want to predict trend, detect patterns, and engage in machine learning, that data needs to be clean. There's a process to that. It's usually the creation of a geodatabase through Laserfiche workflow, through Microsoft Cloud tools, through MC365, Power Automate, the old SQL SSIS. That information can very easily be cleansed so as to best train these machine learning algorithms. And then that data is pushed plainly just as data or visually as maps into other applications like Power BI or like we're increasingly doing here is in Long Beach is our city data portal, our open data portal. All of this brings location intelligence, which can be quite the fiefdom within an organization, into the broader decision making for the organization and out to the public, accelerating that time to situational awareness. Bringing that back to Long Beach is we have a number of questions we must answer before we host these Olympic Games here in our city, which 12 will be hosted here in Long Beach. And the union of document intelligence, artificial intelligence, and geospatial intelligence is proving to be the answer to that question. So let's jump here into our next little demo, and I will introduce Megan Boss on our team. She is our one of our geographic information specialists, as well as a specialist in AI, specifically within the Esri ArcGIS application.
All right, thank you, Morgan. Well, as you know, AI has become very relevant in day-to-day life. Some of you may be using AIs as a checkbox, for instance, to find information. Well, in the world of GIS, AI has merged with geography for a couple of years now, and with that comes powerful tools that has begun to change how GIS is being used. In my two demos today, I'm going to show you two examples. One will be object detection, and the other will be object extraction. And both of these tools, among many others, are replacing tedious and time-consuming GIS tasks in multiple industries today. So, with my screen here, I have a raster image, and say you've been given the task of finding all of the swimming pools within a giant city. Now, for the sake of the demo, we're using a smaller portion, but my first step I want to do is load up my raster image, which here is a 3D raster image. And then I want to go to my geoprocessing tools, which will go to this box right here. I want to find specifically for this one, detect objects using deep learning. And then I can input my parameters. This, I want to add my imagery on my raster here, which you can drag and drop. And then my model method. I want to click on this folder icon right here. Esri offers many pre-trained AI models that you can use, and they're all available on Living Atlas. So for this specific one, I have to find this one is specifically in the United States. And let that run. So while it is running, I will also say that parameters will also load, and then you want to specify your environments. I will also add that these AI tools, their runtimes really depend on what your graphics card is. So depending on your GPU, you may have a faster runtime or a slower runtime. And the way you could check what GPU you have on your computer, you can go to your computer's task manager and then click on performance, and you can check your GPU from there. All right, it looks like it's taking its sweet time thinking today, but for the sake of time, I do have these results preloaded. So when you have your parameters and environments all loaded, you click this run button here. It'll take some time to run, and the results in this specific example should be as shown. Seems ArcGIS is having a tough day today, so we'll just go ahead and look at the results a little bit later. But this next one here is object extraction. So with this, I have another raster image. Say you have the task of finding or digitizing all the roads within a larger raster system. And as many of you, as you know, if you have used GIS before, digitizing, especially roadways or these small objects, can be a very time-consuming task. And that's where AI can really help in. So in this specific example, I want to use the tool called Extract feature using AI models. And again, you can find that in your geoprocessing toolbox. And the same as before, I want to put in my raster image. And this is just a little bit easier. So I can either preload a area of interest or I can draw one. And for the interest of time, I also have one pre-made. You want to keep infer and process checked and keep all of these defaults. And as well as GPU ID, the default will always be 0, but if you don't know it specifically, you can go ahead and put that in. And again, for the sake of time, I have pre-made the results. And there you go. With this AI process, you will no longer have to digitize your roadways. It will do it on the fly for you. And with that, I bring it back to the slideshow.
Let me know when the screen's back up.
You're back up, Andrew.
Perfect. Well, good segue, Morgan. Over to you to talk about some of these exciting things that our data solutions department is doing.
Indeed, one of our clients, just thank you, Megan, for the demonstration. One of our clients is using the automatic road detection to feed information back to Google Maps so that long driveways and more rural roads that are changing quite a bit or being developed on the fly are more accurately updated in the Google Maps layer. That can be shared directly or just through a submission portal with Google Maps so that you're not sent to the back of someone's farm rather than to the actual address point on a newly cut road. Say that you have a recently divided subportal for subparcel, excuse me. And that was to one of the questions I just answered in the chat. CDI, just to bring it back home here as we wrap up. And again, we thank you for your time this morning and afternoon. CDI offers a comprehensive set of GIS services. We're not just about Laserfiche, not just about integration, but we have a whole division dedicated to data solutions, AI, and those fit neatly into GIS. We have a full roster of staff that are dedicated just to those solutions. And it's designed to get you started on better use of your data. Many of our clients are talking about document-based point, line, polygon data, and that's likely the crux of most of this audience. In addition to our expertise, however, in document management and ArcGIS integrations, just to name a few, We can help convert your old maps and files of various types to usable data, whether those are maps that have always been electronic, were recently scanned or need to be scanned, whether that data is open source or proprietary, maybe in a CAD file or other engineering drawing. We can also help you align those maps. That's the big challenge with a lot of those is that they are not properly geo-referenced. Things like aerial photos or sensor data, drone imagery is ever more popular. Even LiDAR. LiDAR is an effective means to get past tree shading in aerial photography, but it's not immediately geo-referenced and scaled appropriately to your mapping layers. We can help with that. We can also help, as I mentioned, with the development and cleaning of geodatabases. Not all of this data is in the shape and form necessary to train or utilize machine learning algorithms, but we can get it there for you very quickly. And when information comes out of your various applications or your document data, for instance, that is great information to build real-time digital twins in ArcGIS, but it is, again, garbage in, garbage out, a little bit of pattern matching, maybe a little bit of data cleanup, and that information can be in pristine format to build digital versions of your organization, indoor and outdoor. And if you are short on GIS staff, we can help with that too, providing short or long-term staff augmentation, training, GIS project management services. Our staff stays up to date on most of the emerging trends in the GIS world. We were just at the Esri conference in San Diego now, I think about 2 months ago, soaking up all the new jargon and new training and new techniques with the application, including, as one of the folks in the chat asked about the retirement of Web App Builder and the movement toward Experience Builder. Our integration will absolutely keep pace with that transition. And much of this work is naturally setting the stage for machine learning. And that's really where we're going with all this. And while it can be a scary thing, it also breathes life back into things like our document management and records management systems. That data, while we may have called it a scanning system or an archive or a document management system, it really is a data lake. It's a perfect combination of very structured data, file names and metadata, semi-structured data, OCR, and unstructured data, completely unindexed data trapped within a PDF image. That is a classic definition of a data lake. And machine learning algorithms are really good at using data lakes, often in the GIS world with a geodatabase in the middle. And CDI can guide you through the process of preparing that data and your maps for AI and machine learning. Again, whether that's inside or outside of the ArcGIS and Laserfiche applications. There are a number of very viable tools that are now very accessible that hit on the machine learning note that are not built within Esri ArcGIS or within Laserfiche, but those applications also have some very neat built-in AI features. Whether you're looking to develop outside those applications or just use those built-in features, we try to stay up to date as much as we can on this emerging market to better communicate that back to you and help you achieve your goals. So thank you very much for being with us. That's it from your CDI Data Solutions team. Andrew will wrap it up for us. If there's any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I will answer them.
Perfect. Thank you, Morgan, so much. Yeah, I was looking also in the question box right now. Looks like we don't have anything else outside of that one question you already answered. But yeah, if anything comes up here during our wrap up, please feel free to post that in there. Also in the survey that you also get sent following the conclusion of the webinar, please also put any questions there. I'll make sure to follow up with you all one by one after the conclusion of the webinar. So just to wrap up, did want to point out some CDI resources. If you're a client, you're probably already familiar with most of these. Keep in mind that we have that fantastic client portal for all of our customers. You can actually, excuse me, you can actually sign up for free training every other Tuesday through our client portal. There's also other resources in terms of how-to guides, white papers, and also the ability to submit support tickets, monitor status of support tickets. So the client portal is a great resource. Please do utilize that. If you need to reach our consulting department, emails on screen. Also, don't forget about our YouTube channel library. This webinar is going to be posted there, but the YouTube library has a lot of other fantastic Laserfiche content. We are even now creating little fiche tips videos, little short, get to the point real quick videos on how to get the most out of your Laserfiche. So definitely check out the YouTube channel, our CDI blog. Make sure you're signed up for our CDI newsletter, and then obviously most of you know how to sign up for webinars, so keep an eye out on that page for any additional webinars. And also now updated on our website is the information regarding our GIS services, so please do utilize that as well. Laserfiche resources. Laserfiche also has a lot of fantastic resources. You can sign up for Aspire and CPP training courses. CDI is actually happy to provide credits for our customers, so definitely let your account manager know if you want to take some classes, become certified, get that Laserfiche knowledge. Don't forget about Laserfiche's Answers Forum, really great way to interact with Laserfiche developers, other Laserfiche users to share ideas, and really just at the end of the day, we want to empower you. Laserfiche wants to empower you to get the most out of your Laserfiche system and not just have it, you know, as that stagnant, another filing cabinet. That's really what we want to prevent for our customers. So that was our CDI resources. Want to thank Megan, want to thank Morgan so much for joining me here today. Want to thank the audience so much for sticking through us here. So thanks again, everybody. Contact information for me is on screen. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us. And as always, thank you again very much, and we'll see you in the next one.